this is John Cole with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to share with you guys the top 3 kitchen appliances you want to buy if you are living on a plant-based or vegan diet. These are very important kitchen appliances that will allow you to maximize the amount of nutrients that you are getting into. Of course, being a raw foodist since 1995, now this is my 27th year, and also being an owner of a company that sells small kitchen appliances online so that people can eat more fruits and vegetables. My views are maybe a little different than maybe most people's that might want to get an air fryer and all these things. They're specifically for you guys that want to get the maximum level of health. I research like all the time, test, demonstrate machines that will allow you to get and extract more of the valuable phytonutrients, break down cell walls so that these nutrients can be more bioavailable for you guys. And some of you guys may not get any of these things. Some of you guys might listen to me. You know, I'm just putting out my videos in case you guys want a helping hand with somebody that's literally been in the industry and been doing this diet and lifestyle a long time. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into the top #1 kitchen appliance that every person on a plant-based diet, I think every person on the planet should own anyways, and it is a blender. Now this is not just a standard blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec. This is known as a vacuum blender. So I want you guys to get a vacuum blender. I've been promoting vacuum blenders on my channel for many years now, and I want you guys to get a vacuum blender. That's the #1 appliance that I think you guys should own. Whether you guys want to get an inexpensive $56 one on eBay, link down below to my video on that, or you want to get the top of the line, and at this time when this video is being filmed, the top of the line vacuum blender is the Dynapro vacuum blender. This has a full 15-year warranty on the motor base and the carafe. It is also NSF certified. Now the main difference between a standard blender and a vacuum blender is that the vacuum blender, you suck out all the excess oxygen out of the container before you blend. Now you're blending in an oxygen deprived environment, so that oxidation cannot occur to the food you're blending. In addition, because the oxygen is removed, there's not all this extra air that's going to be mixed into your mixtures, so that you will also prevent things like gas and bloating and belching, because now you're literally drinking less air. This is especially important if you're making smoothies all the time. In addition, I like to grind things like my flax seeds, which are very high in omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for people on a plant-based diet, in my personal opinion. I also take a DHA supplement, but that's a different discussion topic. I like to grind it under vacuum without all the air so that fats don't go rancid. And then I can store it under vacuum as well, so that the fats don't go as rancid as quickly. I also store a lot of things under vacuum using this vacuum pump or other vacuum pumps that I own, so that my food could save a lot longer. I have other videos on this topic. So, you know, the vacuum blender to me is essential because it allows me to make things like smoothies. It allows me to make things like my soup bases out of fresh vegetable juices. It allows me to make things like 100% macadamia nut butter, which is completely incredible. I also make sauces and dips in my vacuum blender all the time. But the most important thing you guys could do with a vacuum blender is, besides just vacuum blending and making a whole smoothie, you can also use this guy, which I also recommend for every person on a plant-based diet. This is Alexa's Nut Milk Bag, and that's alexasbags.com. These are Alexa's nut milk bags that you can make nut milk with, but you can also juice with these nut milk bags. So I'll post videos down below, links to videos down below, where I use the Dynapro to juice celery to make medical medium celery juice, the best quality, the highest nutrition and highest yield of any juicer. And trust me, I've been selling juicers for over 20 years online. The vacuum blender with the nut milk bag does a better job to get a higher yield. It says right on here, you know, you're going to get up to 92% yield in your juicing. So if you start with 1,000 grams of celery, you're going to have a juice that contains 920 of those grams, throwing out only 80 grams of celery. So this will save you guys money in the long run. Plus, to me, when I vacuum blend or just vacuum juice, the juice tastes stronger. I had one customer that didn't like the strongest tasting of the juice, but everybody else loves the stronger tasting juice without all the extra air bubbles. And I just, once you go back, you don't go back, is what my friend said. And I would agree. I mean, once you experience a vacuum blending, you don't want to do traditional blending anymore. And once you go vacuum juicing, you know, it's hard to juice any other way. So I really love the flexibility that the Dynapro vacuum blender will offer you guys. And that's the #1 pick. If you don't get anything else in this episode, you got to get this, plus the nut milk bags. You can now make smoothies and many juices using this technique. If you guys want to buy the products, links are down below in the description. I sell the Dynapro, and I recommend you guys go to alexasbags.com to buy the Alexa's Nut Milk bags. On every sale, they give me a small commission because I'm helping them with their marketing. The second most important appliance you guys can buy for your health is a juicer. Yes, I did say you can vacuum juice in the Dynapro blender. That being said, not every recipe can easily be juiced in a Dynapro blender because you can't use a tamper when you are vacuum blending, and some vegetable consistencies won't work well in that situation. Plus, sometimes you just don't feel like wringing out all the pulp. So in many cases, actually, I still use a traditional juicer. And here's the thing, you might think, John, blending is better than juicing because you keep the fiber. Well, that is true. You do keep some extra fiber when you blend. You keep the soluble and insoluble fiber. When you juice, you remove some of the fiber. You remove the insoluble fiber. You keep the soluble fiber that is in the juice, and the soluble fiber is a fiber that feeds our microbiome. Now here's the thing, when you guys use a traditional blender like a Vitamix without being a vacuum blender, you guys are losing antioxidants and polyphenol compounds that are air sensitive because you're literally blasting them with air. In addition, you are drinking a lot of air when you're traditionally blending. You know, the Santa 727 juicer runs at a 40 RPM, so that's the slowest RPM. So despite it being in atmospheric conditions and you're still having the oxygen, this gently breaks open the cell walls and extracts the liquid gold, the nutrition, out of your vegetables so you guys can get better assimilation of them. And I made a celery juice in this juicer at the low RPM and the high RPM. And it is an astronomical difference. Link down below to that video if you guys are interested. This is my go-to juicer that I use for juicing primarily leafy greens. If I'm making a heavy leafy green juice, if I'm juicing cannabis leaves, link down below to that video. I like this machine because it runs at a slow 40 RPMs. You could run it faster if you don't have a lot of time that day, but I love to use this at the low RPM. In addition, you could also use this as a grinder to grind up your coffee if you're still drinking coffee. You could use it to grind up roasted nuts to make a nut butter, and so many other things you guys can do. In addition, they also make an optional oil press so that you can extract the oils from many kinds of seeds and nuts. And I have made flax seeds with this oil extractor attachment, and it is amazing to make flax oil. That being said, I encourage you guys to eat a whole food plant-based diet, so eat flax seeds instead of extracting flax oil. Over on this other side, we have the Nama J2 juicer. This has been the best-selling juicer at my company, Discount Juicers, for 2021. We sold a lot of them, and this is one amazing juicer I really like because this changes the juicing game. With this machine, you gotta like put each item in and then push it in, but sometimes you just don't feel like doing all the work. So the Nama J2 makes batch juicing simple and easy for you guys. You could, pre-prepare the night before, like little canisters, link down below to that video, of produce you want to juice. Even, if your kids or husband, you could set it up so that they could just take the canister, open up the canister, dump it in here, turn the machine on, the juice comes out, the pulp comes out, and you're done. You don't have to push produce in, you don't have to babysit your juicer. You could go off and do other things while your juicer is running, and actually that's what I love about the Nama J2. So in many cases, I'll just use a Nama J2 because of the batch juicing feature. I'll make up to 1 to 2, sometimes even up to 3 gallons in one sitting without cleaning the juicer using its batch functionality. And then I store all those juicers under vacuum in my fridge so I could drink them up to 7 days later. This makes it a lot easier for me to juice, and a lot of my customers love the Nama J2. Now this machine, if you're juicing like wheatgrass or straight greens, would not be my first choice. But if you want to do like Dr. Robert Morse style, like fruit juice fast, which I personally don't recommend, you definitely want to get the Nama. It's going to be a lot more efficient than the Santa 727 on fruits because every different style juicer will work better or worse for certain produce items. You know, for carrots, this machine is going to yield a little bit more than the Nama, but the Nama will be a lot easier to use. So literally you just load up the hopper with carrots, shut the lid, turn it on, and walk away. Of course, this machine is also easier to clean. Takes you 1.5 minutes to clean. This guy takes me between 4 to 6 minutes to clean on the J2. I like each of these guys for different reasons. And so which one should you buy? Well, that depends on you. And I will say, just link down below to my video where I compare these two juicers in general. I'll also put a link down below to my favorite juicers of 2022, which talks about vacuum blending versus the Santa versus the Nama, so you guys could learn the pros and cons of each. But I believe juicing vegetables primarily, I do juice some fruits, but I encourage you guys to juice vegetables primarily because those are the healthiest things to juice, especially the leafy greens and other vegetables that you may not be eating in such sufficient high quantity. In addition, things like carrots, if you juice the carrots, you're going to have higher levels of provitamin A or beta carotene in your blood than just eating them raw, as shown by a recent published study that I saw. So that's why the juicing is so beneficial. It basically breaks open and unlocks and makes some of the nutrients in the plant foods that have hard cell walls more bioavailable for you, for your microbiome, and for you to absorb. And that's why juicing is the #2 appliance you guys should get if you're on a plant-based healthy diet. So the last appliance you guys want to buy if you're on a healthy plant-based diet is an Instant Pot. Yes, I said it, Instant Pot. If you're into raw foods, you probably don't want to get an Instant Pot. While you could use it to like culture yogurt at the low temperature setting, this is meant for heat processing your food. You may be surprised that I'm not telling you guys to buy a dehydrator because that's another common appliance that people into raw foods buy. But when you use a dehydrator, you're basically taking out the water out of the foods. You may be doing that at a low temperature that may preserve more enzymes, but if it takes a long period of time, as shown by science, you are decreasing some of the valuable phytonutrients. To me, I'm not eating dehydrated food for its enzyme content. I'm eating it for its phytonutrients and also, more importantly, the crunch. That being said, while the Instant Pot does heat things over 118 degrees and is not raw, it does not exceed like 212 degrees, which is like where water boils. So everything is heat processed in water, so it doesn't get too hot to create carcinogens like an air fryer or like in the oven or like frying in oil, right? So that's why I like the Instant Pot as my healthy appliance that I use. Actually, I use this a lot more than my dehydrator. I use this to heat process foods that I can't normally eat raw. So my preference is to eat fruits and vegetables raw in their whole natural state and minimally processed as possible. But some foods, such as purple sweet potatoes and mushrooms, eggplants, some beans, are some of the things that I heat, artichokes, some of the things that I heat process into Instant Pot that you could not necessarily eat raw, right? In addition, some of the latest research talks about the benefits of different kinds of fiber, especially purple sweet potatoes that have been heat processed and then cooled down and then eaten is a lot more beneficial than just heat processing your sweet potatoes or eating them raw in terms of your microbiome, which I believe to be quite important. I haven't really talked about microbiome a lot in my early years, but now, because it wasn't really known about, when I started raw foods, we didn't really know about the impact of the microbiome and how important it is, and that's why I've been adjusting my diet lately to include small amounts of heat processed foods. Link down below to my original video I made probably about 6 months ago at the time this video is being filmed in July about why I started including some heat processed foods, and my last video that I showed you guys what I'm eating a day and how many heat processed foods I'm eating. My food is primarily a raw foods diet where I get 90% of my calories from raw fruits and vegetables, processed in under 118 degrees, and then maybe 10%, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more, in the Instant Pot. And, it allows me to expand the varieties of foods I eat. And here's the thing, guys. I would rather have you guys, instead of binging at night on dates and almond butter or some kind of raw food dessert, that might contain coconut sugar and maple syrup, I'd rather have you guys cook some straight greens in the Instant Pot. And actually, I do that for my parents. Link down below to my video on how to make some healthy, plant-based, vegan, healthy food in the Instant Pot. Because most people are not going to be into raw foods for their whole life. Although I encourage you guys, out there watching this that you should incorporate more raw foods, and raw food should make the majority of your diet up and include some heat processed foods to fill in, and every person is a little bit different. But yeah, the Instant Pot makes it possible, and studies show that steaming your food, and I use primarily the Instant Pot as a steamer, just put a little bit of water in the bottom, put a little steaming tray on the bottom so I could put my food above that so it's not sitting in water. Cooking your food in water could leach out minerals into it, but steaming your food, and especially I like that I can control how long it steams. Most of the vegetables I heat process in the Instant Pot are done in like less than 5 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes, sometimes a minute as the cooking cycle time. And the studies show that the least amount of time that you could heat process your foods to make it edible for you guys and comfortable for you to eat is the better, because in general you preserve more valuable phytonutrients, and that is what I'm after at this stage of my game. Phytonutrients and fiber is super critical. Sometimes I like to remove the fiber, some of the fiber with juicing, but sometimes I like to add different kinds of fiber that I wouldn't get with juicing through using my Instant Pot and being able to access more different kinds of foods. So that's pretty much it for the 3 top appliances that you guys should purchase if you're on a healthy plant-based diet. Once again, this is coming from somebody that's been into raw food since 1995, who tests all the major appliances, who does his research, who looks up scholar.google.com. I'm almost on there almost every day, looking up some new science, some new research, because I want you guys to eat healthier because of the videos that I make, and hopefully just if I reach one person with this video and it helps them out get a better appliance to process the food more effectively, to save more phytonutrients, to save the planet and save your guys' health, I've done a good job. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and be sure to share this video with other people on a raw, plant-based diet, nutritarian diet, vegan diet, whatever kind of diet, so that they could learn about the most important kitchen appliances that they should buy so you guys could get healthier in 2022 and beyond. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are wealth of knowledge. Over 600 episodes at this time on this YouTube channel dedicated to teach you guys all about how to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. And once again, links down below to some of the video comparisons that I've done, and sharing with you guys how I use my Instant Pot to cook for myself as well as my parents, and some of the demos I've done with the Dynapro vacuum blender, the Santa, and the Nama juicers. These are the best appliances that will make a difference in your health if you guys get them and start using them today. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.